Vertical malls on the Magnificent Mile are going under, and they're going under slow, guys. And I want to talk particularly about this building that was owned by Brookfield. And the name of this building is called the Water Tower. I have so many stories about the Water Tower because I was born and raised in Chicago, and I ran up and down Michigan Avenue as a kid and loved going into the Water Tower. All the best stores and the most expensive stores were in the Water Tower. And we were just happy to run through the stores and meet people and hang out and laugh. And this building is gorgeous, guys. It was built in 1975, and we have a hotel in there with some condominiums, and we have 6 stories that has a vertical mall in there. And the owner of the vertical mall has just turned the keys over back to the bank, and the bank has been holding this vertical mall note for the last 2.5 years, and they haven't figured out how to unload this note. They cannot find a buyer. They cannot find someone that's interested in occupying it. And it's been 2.5 years since keys got turned over to the bank. So just to show you that you can be in a great location, because the Magnificent Mile in Chicago is probably one of the best locations in the world. But you could also see that when these changes occur, when you have inflation that occurs, and when you have all these different cost increase that occur, even these huge institutional owners that owned and operated these malls will suffer, and they would have to give these properties back to the bank. There's no cash to deploy at this moment on the Mag Mile. They've been trying to figure out how to rebuild Michigan Avenue for the last 5 years. Ever since COVID hit, the Mag Mile has had high vacancy rates, and we have a ton of square footage available. And now what they're trying to do with the Water Tower is they just hired JLL Commercial Realty to come in and lease out the top 3 floors. And they know that it could no longer be a mall. So they're trying to lease it out to doctors. They're trying to lease it out to office space. They're trying to figure out how to reinvent this space, because it's been difficult with all the cost and all the hikes that we had with inflation. It's been difficult for this bank to just liquidate the assets. So at this point, guys, check it out. MetLife, I think, is the lender on this. Really wants to get this property occupied and stabilized, so then they can sell it at a loss. They're not going to sell it at a gain. They're going to sell it at a loss, guys. It's very unfortunate that if you don't keep up with the trends, if you don't keep up with the market, you won't see these types of changes happening until they happen and it's too late. So it's really important for you to have your thumb on a pulse and understand what's going on in our markets. One of the things that really devalued the Magnificent Mile was the defunding of the police. There was a woke organization that was running Chicago, and this woke organization really allowed for people just to run wild. And the Mag Mile crime went through the roof, and the theft went through the roof, and no one felt safe anymore to walk through the Mag Mile, because you knew that you were a victim the minute you run through the Mag Mile. And the Mag Mile is probably one of the best and most respected, most elite streets in Chicago. And unfortunately, it went through these huge changes in the last 6 years. So it goes to show you, if you don't have control of your city, if the politicians don't back the police, this trickles down. No one would have ever thought that these effects politically would trickle down into the vertical malls on the Mag Mile. So there's another mall not too far from the Mag Mile. That property sold in 2008 for $550 million, and the owner sold their interest for $21 million, guys. They took a haircut and a half, and these are the types of deals that we're going to start seeing. If you do the numbers on that, that's almost a 96% loss that they just decided to walk away. So imagine, you owned a property since 2008, and later you would think that as time goes, the property would appreciate and become more expensive. And it's very unfortunate that that's not what happened. They sold for a huge loss. And the same reason why the Water Tower went out of business, they lost a huge anchor tenant called Macy's. That really affected the mall. But it wasn't just that they lost Macy's. It was the combination of the different things going on, meaning inflation, high interest rates, high taxes. The taxes in Chicago are ridiculous. So we got insurance costs going through the roof. Now we got the reset of the mortgage rates. So all these different variables combined with political policies in Chicago, they all intertwine and connect, and it just became a disaster. So these are the things that we have to be aware of, and you want to be ahead of the game. So I like to live my life, and I like to be 5 years ahead. So the reason that I stopped investing in 2019 is because the numbers no longer made sense to me, and it's very difficult for me to understand how in 2022 people were continuing to invest. But as I read and as I educate myself, I see that these REITs were new. Some of these REITs were 2 and 3 months old, and they weren't in the market long. They didn't have any experience, but they had the backing, meaning they had the money. So just to go back to the water tower and the mall that's down the street from the water tower that sold for a huge loss, it's very important for you to follow and understand what's going on, because you want to make sure that you're not a victim of a huge loss the way Brookfield was. Could we see the same struggle in high-end retail here in Florida? And the answer is yes. Everything starts at the top and it trickles down, guys. So the money starts from the top and it trickles down. And at some point, malls, high-end malls, are going to feel the effect of the unemployment. They're going to feel the effect of the high prices in gas. They're going to feel the effect of the tariff. They're going to feel all these different effects. Like it or not, we're going to feel it. And if you feel that you're insulated in some way or some shape or some form, you have to be realistic and you have to educate yourself and understand that we are in rough waters and there's nowhere to go at this point but down. We raised the prices on everything that you can think about in real estate. We raised the prices on all goods. We raised the prices on all cars. We raised the prices on just the basic fundamentals. When you go to Costco and Walmart, there's nowhere else to go but down. And for a temporary moment, we're gonna see even higher inflation rates with tariffs. So you got to keep all this in mind, that this is all going to trickle down and everyone gets hit. There's no one that's safe. All investors get hit. No one is safe. So if you're smart and you got a property and you're thinking about liquidating, don't hesitate. Contact me at josejuarbe.com. Hit the contact button on my website, fill in your information, give me the details on your property, and I can tell you what your property is worth. If you enjoyed my video, smash the like and share.